Hey guys, Bobby D here. Thanks for popping back in. Hopped on the ZX14 today. Did not really have this ride planned, but tossed the draggy in my pocket. Beautiful weather. Figured, hey, maybe I can get some acceleration numbers, some big top end numbers. Not really much interesting for twisty, fun shit like that, but wide open roads, so maybe I can blast some good numbers. So hey, with that, we got good weather, got the big bike out. Let's go ride. Well, all right. Well, we got the bike gassed up, all the gizmos charged up. Well, let's go do this. All right, so we are finally on the road. I've got the camera set up on a wide angle lens. We'll see how this works out. I got the bike set up. You can see we are at 81 degrees outside. Yeah, that's not really right. I was just sitting in the sun for a little bit. But, yeah, let's go for a little cruise here and see if we can get some numbers at the draggy. Yeah, we got to get around a couple obstacles here. Not much to talk about on this kind of a ride. As you can see, we don't really have a turn anywhere near, which maybe is a good thing considering what we're doing. We'll drop her down to third gear. And we are running the Valentine 1, so we should be covered when it comes to problems in our path, if you know what I mean. So let's wait for this to get by. We got some folks outside waving at the 14R. Yeah, boy. Anyway, yeah, get a little jacked up on Monster Energy here. Put this boy down to second, and yeah, boy. Just a nice little scenic tour ride here today, right? Stretch those legs a little bit. Been on the bike for a while this morning. And you might notice this video cut in and out a little bit because, you know, like I said a bit ago, how exciting is it just watching a dude ride down a straight ass road? Bullshit zone, yeah, that's bullshit right there, but I can't even remember what's ahead up here. Make sure this camera is all not all jacka mode here. Try to get a better angle for you guys. There we go. Oh, saw that ski rack and I thought that was something else coming our way. Yeah, so I just fixed the camera. I don't know if those first couple runs if the camera was all screwed up or not. I guess we'll have to do it again. Alright? Well, that's what we're out here to do. I gotta get some footage on the ZX10R doing this stuff. I've been out riding for a while now getting this stuff. But this ride is just Bobby D's solo ride of zipping around. There we go. Now I do have the traction control, as you can see. You look down at my dash, I don't know if it's even showing up, but I got the bike at full power and the traction control on 1. I'm not feeling the tire spinning because the KTRC will actually cut out the bike and you can hear little cuts in the engine.
The roads are really hot. They're sticky. I got some powers on here right now. And there is a biker run going on this morning. I've seen a couple hundred bikes out. I should be on my Harley with those guys, but anyway. Oh, we got a little bit of a curve in the road. No shit. Well, if you want to call it that. Anyway, we can talk about the bike for a minute. This is my 2017 ZX10R. You know, I am running an M4 full system on this bike. I talked about that in the content a little bit. Yeah, people give M4 a hard time, but hey man, I'm telling you, if you're American, well, or if you're not, American-made pipe, it does make good numbers compared to the stuff that costs more. But with the ZX14, your options are kind of limited. Not a chance in hell would I put a Brakes on my bike, so that's not going to happen. You know, hey, I'll say the Brakes exhaust design-wise will look good. I like the style of them. You know, they sound pretty good. I personally just don't like the guy, and I don't like his business philosophy, so that's a different matter there. And some issues his pipes have, leaks and shit like that he don't own up to it with customers. Maybe he'll chime in and bitch at me. But yeah, I got some content in the BS zone about Brakes. I like to tease them a little bit, but hey, that's part of the channel. Yeah, the good thing about riding a bike when you got a lot of traffic is you can do this shit. I can't do that in my truck. And we're rolling up on some guys that rode in, I think, the poker run. And if you are not aware, I do ride a Harley. I enjoy cruising along on that boy. So I'm the sport bike guy that's got a little etiquette and courtesy. I don't go blasting the Harleys and giving them shit because, hey, I ride one too. Two wheels are two wheels. It's just at this moment, our two wheels, we like to go fast. Nice thing about this ZX14, this sucker's got a gas gauge on it, so I did ride. Nice day like today. Actually, a couple nice looking bikes in front of us here. Till that bitch threw her cigarette butt at me. Man, I hate that shit. At least I think she did. Well, we'll sneak on by them. Apparently we're going south for that Mexican sign we just came up on there. Why the hell they're going so slow? Apparently it's 40 miles an hour. Oh, and apparently there's a bogey station right there, so I guess I won't give them so much shit no more. So anyway, back to the 14R. Hey man, I really like this bike. I've got the 10R. I've had about everything under the sun, but I'll tell you what, you're getting to be a little bit older like this guy here. This 10R, this thing makes enough torque, horsepower, all that shit that you can be lazy on this bike, man. I could put this thing in third or second gear. I could ride this damn thing around the state in third gear, probably starting from stoplights and going 120 miles an hour. So, you know, you can get a little bit more lazy. This thing's got a seat on it about that thick, you know, about 3 inches of foam. You know, traction control, it's got enough electronics on it. You know, the platform is, you know, it's kind of older now. It's first generation stuff when it comes to the traction control and all that. But hey, with the bike with this much horsepower, over 200 horsepower, shitloads of torque, it does make a difference having that if you get a little squirrely and a little whiskey throttly at times. So, you know, I really like the 14. I like the style. It is a big bike. If you're new to bikes, it might seem ginormous, like you're riding around on a big fat chick or something, but hey, I don't find that problem. I enjoy it. I am a Cowick guy, so I like it better than the whole Busa theme when it comes to that. But Ah, shit. Well, I guess we are taking a detour here. Apparently everybody's coming into town for a car show and a craft show. Go get ourselves some knickknacks. But anyway, yeah, so the 14, you know, I guess my only gripe about this bike would be is this big ass engine heats up and gets hot. You can see this thing's at 200 degrees already. And not that I feel the heat, but as a mechanic, you know, when I'm turning wrenching on bikes and I'm doing oil changes and all this kind of stuff, I like to keep up on my maintenance. And when I know my bike has been running hot a lot, you know, I know the service intervals are going to be shorter. So with this big bike, you know, almost 1500 cc's getting hot all the time, I know that this thing is cooking its oil. And so, you know, when I come at the stoplights and stuff like that, I'll actually shut the bike off so I don't have to let it just cook. But, you know, that would probably be my only complaint. I am actually more comfortable with the bike with the throttle cable like this versus the fly-by-wire that my ZX10R has, just because I've been on bikes for a long time and I'm used to this feel. The more, you know, I guess I could say less responsive feel actually compared to the fly-by-wire. But I like it. It's my thing. You know, the brakes on this bike are good, handling wise. Hey, I'm in Michigan. You know, this is not Utah canyons. I'm not in a situation where I ride this bike like I do when I'm at the track. So any of the sweepers and corners that most people would encounter in their state, you know, I'm not down at Deal's Gap on this damn thing, although it would be great everywhere except for on the actual tail. So handling wise, man, this thing works. It works fine for everything that I got to do. I can kick ass. I can crush some speeds in the straightaways between it, and I'm comfortable doing it. So I like that about this bike. Got these ginormous fucking mirrors on it too. I can see everything in 2 counties behind me, like the Dodge back here. But yeah, so anyway, that's my quick informal run in my mouth review of my ZX14R. The bike is tuned. I mentioned it's got the M4 full exhaust. I've got the ECU flashed and tuned. And the main thing I've done with the flash on this bike at Hoffer Performance that I really like is, no bullshit, this bike is smooth. Now, due to the nature of this shorty ass exhaust on here, it's a little bit louder than I'd normally like, but it's not obnoxious. And you hear a little bit of crackling and stuff of the situation with the unburned fuel and stuff, but the bike itself is much smoother than it may actually sound with those little crackles and things coming from it. It just is really good. I mean, this thing is like a damn super tour bike. So, but anyway, I think we are about done with this detour here in a minute. I'm carrying just enough speed to keep my temp down a little bit. Like I said to you guys, I'm under 200 degrees finally. So yeah, so you know, I'm running Pilot power tires on this bike. They're plenty sticky. All the torque this thing throws out of its ass end, it tends to eat the rear tires up. This is the bike I talked about a little bit. The prior owner had washed this thing with some apparently not diluted enough simple green. Thought they were doing the right thing when they were parking this bike during the whole COVID pandemic, so they washed their shit, put it in their garage and put a cover on it. Well, you know, your front brake area, all that shit holds water, and it dripped down on the rims, and it literally ate the frickin' paint off the rims. And not a deal breaker. I'm kind of into powder coat anyway, so I will be powder coating the wheels on this bike a little bit different color. Gonna try to match up that dark silver tone that the Brembo calipers are. I think it might look good on this bike. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, I'm just riding around talking, smelling Burger King. I don't eat that shit, but I won't lie, Burger King, I think they must be pumping some smell out of that place. So, well, anyway, I'll probably end up cutting some footage out of this because I am just weaving through traffic and getting out of cars, or around cars, you know what I mean here. This little podunk town I'm in. Got a Sprint air filter in this bike. Boy, is there some controversy about those. P08, some guy put some footage out, says they're the biggest piece of shit in the world. Looks like his airbox is a kid's sandbox. Well, I'm running those filters in both of my bikes, and I don't experience none of that shit. I kind of trust the filter. Mine are good. I've got them sealed up properly. Right now in Michigan, we got cottonwood, all this fuzzy ass shit floating around. I do not suspect any of that shit's getting through my filter. The farmers are all out. You can see dust in the distance, dirt and all that. Not in the desert of fucking Nevada, but got plenty of farmers doing that shit right there. Just, you know, throw dirt up in the air. And I have got the least bit of worries about that with this bike. So if you are running a Sprint filter, hey, I'm curious, are you just going off the hearsay that the filter's a piece of shit and you took it out, or you're scared to buy one? Or have you actually looked at yours and seen a bunch of, you know, concerning dirt and debris getting through your filter? Kind of not finding people who've actually had that happen. The whole base of motorcyclists out there, there's so many people that are unknowledgeable that they're not a bad thing, they're just inexperienced, so they're freaking out and they're scared to throw a piece of shit air filter in their bike. So I don't really blame them. However, do your research, man. A lot of people putting shit out there don't know really what they're talking about. I'm not saying I'm some fucking expert. Oh, I'm swearing a lot. Well, I'm not monetized anyway, but hey, a lot of people out there just spreading rumors. Let me go back to the term I based this channel on, the BS zone. There's a lot of bullshit out there of hearsay about whether it comes to air filters, oil filters. Oh man, shit, ECU tuning right now. There's a lot of shitty ECU tuners out there, and there's a lot of shitty false stuff going around about what ECU tuning is, can do, can't do, what it's all about, and all that kind of stuff. So man, do your homework. There's some tuners out there that literally just, they're gonna screw your shit up, man. And there's some quality ones out there. If you're gonna do the mail-in tune, hey, that's the big thing. It's convenient, and generally it costs a little bit less. There's some people that, you know, they'll do some decent mail-in ones as well. I ain't gonna give a total shit, but there's a lot of shit ones out there too. Plenty of in-house dyno guys have bikes come in because people do a mail-in flash, meaning they get an air-fuel ratio, electronic throttle valve mapping put onto their bike. They put their ECU back in, and their bike has got twitchy and, you know, jerky, all kinds of shit going on, and they end up taking their bike to the dyno tuner, and now they're really screwed because they paid $300, $400, $500 for the mail-in flash, and now they got to pay the dyno tuner another $400 to $600. So they're kind of pissed because they just spent $1,000, where if they did it right the first time. So if you got a dyno tuner anywhere within reach, I'm saying just go that route the first time. Don't screw around with it. You know, I do understand there's people in rural areas, and there's people certain sides of the country that there really aren't reputable tuners around, so that is your only option. So, I mean, if it is, it is. Something to think about. Give this some thought too. When a Japanese motorcycle like this ZX14 or the ZX10 that I do a lot of content on, when those bikes have the ECU flashed using the Woolwich software, the oxygen sensor is disabled and or removed on the bike. All right, so that oxygen sensor works for emissions, and it does make some minor adjustments to things on the bike with different temperatures, and you know, there's different sensors that we'll say control things due to temperature and the elevation and pressure and stuff like that. But the O2 sensor in particular is disabled when you do a Woolwich software ECU flash. And the point I'm getting at here is people get really picky about their flash, and hey man, there's no way that a mail-in flash is going to be as accurate as a take your bike in flash, and I 100% agree, and that's what I'm always promoting and pumping out. But what I also want to say is that when you buy a bike, this bike new off the showroom floor, whether I buy this one or 6, 7, or 8 of the bikes next to it or the one at the other dealership, they all come from Kawasaki with the same air fuel mapping. Regardless if the bike is ridden in Michigan at 600 feet elevation, or in Florida at 0 feet, or at Colorado at 3,000, 10,000 feet. They all come from Kawasaki with the same mapping. Alright? Now, you've got sensors that do make some adjustments to keep things in a semi-close optimal range. Well, when we flash the bike, you lose some of that adjustment that the Japanese bike can make because we're getting rid of that O2 sensor. That's why it's important when you're flashing the bike to have the map as precise as you can. Because I can tell you the day that this bike was flashed and the air fuel ratio was set, the temperature was different than the 86 degrees that it's reading today. So this bike is not making the same adjustments to the new map that's put on here as it did when it was all stock. So if you're following me here, that is why you want your aftermarket flash tune as closely accurate as you can, because that operating window is only so big. Your bike can't adjust anymore if you're following me there. You know, and I can tell you, my bike's Hoffer Performance, he tries to get these bikes, he gets the dyno room into the low 70s, because that's a realistic number. It gives you the operating window that most people are going to ride in. You got 10, 15 degrees on the top end, it gets you up around 85. The bike's still kind of in that window where we're at today. And it also gets you down into those spring fall days when it's a little bit cooler, that 55, 60, when your ass is itching to get on your bike the first time. So keep that stuff in mind. That is my little tutorial on the importance of having a quality air fuel ratio mapping put on your bike when it's tuned. Now all the de-restriction shit, hey, that's just up to the tuner. What they want to do with your electronic throttle valve and how they want to set that up, you got to talk to the tuner. Hey, are you an older dude that you want the air fuel ratio right, but you want it smooth like this? Or, you know, are you that 26-year-old that wants to stand this bitch up on the back wheel every time you crack the throttle? So you want that electronic throttle valve just snappy, snotty. Hey, I'm a guy who, former racer, track guy. To me, the importance is that damn thing being smooth. I don't so much care for a super snappy, snotty map, although I do have one on my ZX10R to play around with, you know. But those maps are a little bit neutered if you turn the traction control on anyway, so give that some thought. You gotta shut all that shit off if you want to feel the snap. So, but let's get around a little bit of this obstacles here and see if we can get a little bit more draggy data here. I finally think I know where I'm going, or the direction I'm going. As this summer goes on, the content is going to be getting better and better on this bike and the 10R as I get these local knuckleheads that I ride with to come on out and play around a little bit. We'll line these things up, we'll compare them, we'll rip around, we'll do a little bit of snotty riding, I like to call it. I like to call it Warp 40 when I'm hauling ass. We'll do some of that instead of this boring shit stuck behind a Jeep. But I do have a quick shifter on this bike. It does not have a blipper. I am running the Heel Tech quick shifter on this bike, and I have got mine set up to not activate until 5,000 RPMs or above. And the reason I've done that is when I am riding around in town and I'm poking around on this bike if I want to go to work or something, and I'm just kind of lazy riding, my whole clutch hand and shifter foot timing was a little different than when I'm actually out kind of ripping riding. And I got some quirky shit going on with the quick shifter, just moseying along. So, you know, everything below 5,000 RPMs, I'm not really doing anything kind of fast. I'm just cruising. So I got to shut off 5,000 and below. I've got the kill time set at what Heltech suggests. I've got the other setting, which is like a sensitivity setting at 30 on this bike. I don't have to push up on the shift lever very hard to get a nice clean shift with it. The Heltech quick shifter is a Bluetooth adjustable unit. Oh yeah, technology there added to this old girl. I was out riding this last weekend, ripping around some guys, and with the Heltech quick shifter on the ZX14, you do need to check the box for noise canceling. So this engine creates enough static noise and vibrations and stuff that it's kind of some bullshit that messes with the quick shifter. And Heltech is aware of that, so they got a box you can, you know, click on your Bluetooth there, and it cancels that out. Now, we were stopped at a gas station, and somehow during the ride, I don't know if the app opened up in my pocket or what the hell happened, but that box got unchecked. And what'll happen if the static noise is interfering with the quick shifter, every time you hit the quick shifter, it'll shift fine, but then it'll give it a secondary kill, like a cutout. You almost feels like, at first I thought, hey, I'm bumping my boot on the quick shifter, but that wasn't it. So I was trying to adjust the Bluetooth, and I'm having problems. Like, hey man, why can't I get the Bluetooth to pair with my phone when my bike is off at the gas station, but the key was on? Well, you gotta have your ignition in the power position, because that is your ignition. And yeah, my stupid ass wasn't remembering that, and I had this in the off position, so there was no power going to the ignition. The ignition system, so the bike wouldn't recognize it. It was not powering on the Heltech unit. Heltech they tell you to look for the little LED light lit up, and I had my bike, or I've got my Heltech on the bike where I can't see that LED. The way I make sure it's got power is they've got a function when you push down on the sensor, it shows the percentage of force. So when my bike's in the garage, if I turn it on, I'll push down on the shift sensor a little bit, and I see that number. But anyway, if you're running the Heltech quick shifter and the ZX14, you know, just because you got to pull some fairings and reach your hands way up underneath here where the spark plugs are, if you've not done the pulse air injection, the pair mod, it's kind of going to be a little bit of a bitch getting your hands down in there to hook it up. If you pulled all that plumbing out of there, it definitely makes it easier down in here. Other than that, putting the Heltech quick shifter on is really straightforward and super easy. I get a little OCD about routing wires and putting little zip ties and hiding things and making sure I keep the wires away from hot shit and stuff like that. But aside from doing all that, hey man, it's like a 2-beer job. You got 2 beers in the garage, you'll get it done. I helped a buddy out, Chris, putting one on his bike this spring. He's real happy with it. I did remind him to put that noise canceling button, make sure you enable that. So yeah, you know, aside from this bike not coming from the factory with the quick shifter, for the intended super, whatever the hell they want to classify this bike as these days, but whatever they want to call this bike, it coming with a quick shifter would really ice the cake on it really having all the technology that it needs. I suspect these things are going to be living a short life and not be produced. You can buy a brand new 2023 in the US still. Rumor are that not many dealers actually stock them. I can't really confirm that or not. I see a lot of people buy these bikes and they don't ride them, man. You can find these bikes with no miles on them, several years old, like less than 1,000 miles on them. This is a 2017. I got 4,900 on it right now. I bought this one last year with about 3,000 miles on it. That's a 2017 with 3,000 miles on it. And just sitting there depreciating. I got a pretty good deal on it, even though we have this, you know, pandemic pricing going on right now on used bikes. I didn't really get jacked on it. I got a good deal on it. In fact, the guy who sold it reached out to me, and he's kind of regretting selling it, but hey, you're lost in my gain, buddy. And I've done quite a bit of stuff to the bike, performance-wise, and all the carbon fiber stuff on it to just kind of spice stuff. Man, my pet peeve is the unpainted flat black rubber looking plastic that Kawasaki puts on their bikes. And I've got a bunch of content out there about this with my ZX10R, but you know, Kawasaki's are well built, they're reliable, they're durable. You know, here and there you'll get your, you know, particular issue or something with them. But hey man, these are quality bikes, well built, strong motors, but they keep the price down. And some of the things they do, like, hey Cowie, I get it, but at the same time I hate it. The kind of the unpainted rubber parts, you know, some of the locations that they put those make sense. It's heavy impact areas from, you know, stone chips and debris and all that kind of bullshit. But some of the other shit they do, you know, their rear sets, the levers they put on the bikes, you know, they're functional, but they're not appealing to the eye. And they just use some metal that's, it gets the job done, but it is definitely not top tier quality type shit that you'll see on, oftentimes on the European bikes. And they're even skimping out on a lot of that shit now because the cost of electronics and the motor development and paying these damn World Superbike and GP riders is astronomical, that they're, you know, they're skimping everywhere they can to, so they can overall keep the price of the bike down, because the cost of the bike itself is so damn high now for a new bike. So I get it, man. I just don't like it. I shouldn't even just say that. Not that I don't like it, because I mean, I'll be real. I like customizing my bike. I like putting shit on to make my bike different than that guy's and that guy's, like these brake levers and this carbon fiber, this little windscreen and all that kind of bullshit. I like doing it. It gives me shit to do in the wintertime, and I get to make these bullshit YouTube videos of doing that stuff. So in that regard, I like doing it. Spending the cheddar on that dumb shit, that I don't like doing, because I'm not running bullshit eBay, Alibaba aluminum levers that are made out of like recycled aluminum barbecue foil, and I'm gonna pull that shit and break and die. I'm running some stuff that's name brand components. You know, I will buy some of that knockoff shit if it's just some cosmetic things that really, again, they serve no purpose other than a little poke of your eyeball. But anything that's actually functional, especially functional that it could, you know, save your damn life, like a brake lever, I'm not going to skimp out, and I wouldn't advise you do either. I mean, for the 45 bucks that you're going to save, or 50 bucks, think about your damn hospital bill. Hey, look at that little cool ass little thing. Like a little 8-wheel amphibious vehicle. I need that shit. So yeah, so you know, I see why they're saving money and how they're doing it, but the aftermarket companies are capitalizing on that. You know, aftermarket rear sets, they're made out of much better aluminum material. The machining process costs more than the cast process, or however the hell the OEM ones are made. They look better, they're adjustable, they're awesome to have. I don't have them on this bike. I've got the OEM rear sets on this bike. Really just because this bike's got these like 2-inch big rubber squishy ass foot pegs that for hard aggressive riding, they're not ideal. but for riding on this bumpy bullshit that I'm on right now, they're kind of nice. They soak stuff up. This road, I don't think the camera's picking it up because this GoPro's got this super mega ultra whatever level vibration eliminating shit going on. You probably can't see the bike bouncing around, or you probably can't even tell how hard the damn wind's blowing. The bike is actually on an angle like this. So yeah, hey, too much traffic, not able to get much in the way of the draggy data that I hope to have gotten, but I got a little bit, and we'll see what maybe we topped out at here. Maybe we got some good numbers or something here with the draggy, but maybe 3 pulls I think I got in, you know, versus a nice I'll have to make sure I put an accurate title to this video. This is going to be something along the way of something having to do with the speed numbers of this bike. Well, I guess we kind of did that at the beginning, but it really turned into more of an informal kind of review of the ZX14 and my likes and dislikes of this bike versus, you know, performance shit. But I will have this bike out many more times, getting that shit that you guys want to see. Because not only do I ride this bike, you know, accelerating and, you know, big numbers type stuff, but I ride this boy on the twisties, and I will tell you, if you are an experienced rider and you've been hitting corners for a while, you can do it on this bike. Definitely can do it. This thing's no slouch at doing that stuff, especially on your regular type roads that you're going to find, you know, here in Mexico or most states, and you can do it in comfort. I don't know what that guy had on, a garbage bag with a body in it or some shit strapped to his roof. My little riding tip, I try to get around that shit. All my years of riding, I've seen shit fly off of the top of vehicles. I've seen tires fly off of vehicles. All kinds of goofy shit. And I guess this carbon fiber that I'm knocking on is the closest I got to the old saying of knock on wood. Trying to stay away from that shit and not get hit by it. Looks like we might be able to open her up. Well, we start the video out with a little rip snort. I do rev match when I downshift, if you haven't noticed what the hell I'm doing. So, passing the old dealio here. And let's see if we can maybe get a little run here. The faster I go, the wind noise gets kind of crazy. This racing helmet doesn't block it all out that good, so I'm going to shut up and just get around some cars and go. Adjust that camera. Wasn't as much as I hoped for. Maybe we can get around here. corners though, right? So I guess we started her off with a little bit of a rip, and we got to finish with a little rip. And I hope my GoPro is still filming. I don't know how much battery I got, can't really see it right now. But hey man, with that, we're gonna call that a ride. It wasn't as advertised, but it kind of was. I'll see what the draggy says. I don't know what she topped out at until I pull the draggy out of my pocket, and I will put it up on this screen up around here somewhere, obviously after I edit this shit a little bit. The Michigan roads here, and the temperature says 79 degrees now. It is definitely hotter. Warmed up since I got on the bike. And I'm gonna bob and weave through this traffic. I'm gonna have to make a little minor adjustment here for a minute. Let's move this outward. There we go. Get the shield up some. So yeah, so I started the video off with some footage getting on it a little bit, and ended with some footage getting on it a little bit. So I guess the false advertising is not completely accurate, but it's definitely not what I expected. And I think that wind probably hits this purple panda, whatever the hell the bullshit name they gave the microphone that I got. And hey man, if you've got any suggestions on a good microphone, man, I did all the reading and talking and all that shit that I could to find the best microphone to use to put in my helmet. And I've got this purple panda in here, and I don't know if it's the helmet design, this next I don't know what the hell model this thing is, but it's a nice lightweight racing helmet. But perhaps the venting is too good and it's letting airflow past the mic. I don't know, but if you got any suggestions, you got a better microphone idea I might need, put it in my comments, man, because I will buy that bitch. I'm my own biggest critic with the wind noise. Like, come on, people, I am hot. This thing says 81 degrees right now, but the bike says 201, so I'm sitting on a great big 1500cc frying pan. Come on, Chevy Cruze. I feel like a bratwurst right now, man. Not only eating one, I actually feel like one.